Howdy folks and welcome. I hope this finds you well. Today we'll be talking about Diablo 4's new season, Loot Reborn, and why it's demonically good. Let's get started. I played Diablo 4 back, I guess a year ago, almost to the day, and I remember it being a mixed bag. I did have a lot of fun. I got a sorcerer to, I think, around level 65, but like most ARPGs, it got kind of repetitive for me. There wasn't a lot of endgame content. Flash forward to a week ago when a friend told me about the new season. Now, I came into this with no expectations, so it probably made time traveling a little bit easier. You go, whoa, dog dad, what do you mean by time travel? And I mean this. I time traveled back to when I was 16 years old and I was a degenerate gamer. I played the season this week for, I want to say, about 80 hours. It was to the point where my fiance would come in and go, "It's time for dinner," and I would just look at her with sunken eyes. I think I just lost myself, which is a good thing. I really did feel like I time traveled back to when I was 16. It really did feel like the good old days playing Diablo 3 again. I really enjoyed Diablo 3. I enjoyed Diablo 3 because even with its problems, it felt good to play at certain points. I love Diablo 3 because it felt good to play, which at first Diablo 4 did not. Now with this new season, I cannot stress this enough. This might be one of my favorite games to play right now. From my perspective, someone that's played Diablo 2, 3, and now 4, this is probably one of the best feelings I've had playing an ARPG, period. Blizzard has added numerous changes, not just for the sake of it, but they actually make the gameplay better. There are so many good loops, and honestly, I just kept going from one to another. The whole momentum of the game has changed. It's intriguing and thrilling. I don't want to gripe on this too much, but I do have a question. Why wouldn't they just release Diablo 4 like this? Why not give the team another year of development and come out with something that feels good and not just, I don't know, the lukewarm reception Diablo 4 got? What do you think? Anyways, Blizzard has pulled off something miraculous because, as I said before, this is one of the best feeling ARPGs, or games for that matter, I've played in a while. Because it felt like there was always something new to do. And all of those new options, I was choosing what to do. It really felt empowering and organic. For example, I would just be smashing demons left and right. Then, ooh, is someone doing Blood Maiden? Better scurry over there. Ooh, I'm tired of getting loot drops from a really hard boss. I have some Tree of Whispers reputation. Let's see what I can get from there. Oh? One of the best parts about the game is that everything feels rewarding. Another reason why I felt so good playing Loot Reborn season is the fact that I felt accomplished doing things, and there was so much to accomplish. And I'm not a big fan of season passes either, but just the fact that I was getting rewards for just simply playing the game felt like I was back in Rocket League, and I do like that feeling. I did play this without buying any microtransactions, because I do hate that. I think I'm like most people where I do enjoy unlocking things, I just never will pay the money for it. All this would mean diddly squat if the gameplay wasn't good. And I can tell you, from my experience playing a rogue this time, oh my god, this was so good. The gameplay is so good. Now, not having played Diablo 4 for a while, I was kind of lost starting up. I did remember most of the controls, but it was kind of hard to get the gears rolling. Once I did, however, I found that Diablo 4 probably had one of the smoothest gameplay loops I had ever experienced. It scratches your sense of progression like not a lot of other games. Each new armor piece gave me a moment to catch my breath and look over the stats. Even though I've forgotten most of the story, doing the side quest was a great reminder that this was a lived-in world, and that Blizzard did pay attention to some of the side quests. It really made the experience more palpable and enjoyable because this is a really good world that they've built, and we'll get to the art design and style later. Blizzard really went out of their way to create a lived-in world, and I can appreciate that. Now that the gameplay and the endgame correspond with this amazing detail, I feel like Diablo 4 is in a very good place. Progressing to the endgame was so much fun that I kind of lost track of time. Before we get to the endgame content, I do want to talk about the graphics in Diablo 4. I was blown away by looking at some of the animations and details that they put into the world that really, in a game that's so fast-paced, I don't think a lot of people appreciate. I don't remember if the reviews of Diablo 4 when it first came out last year talked about the graphics or the details per se, but there were some actually like jaw-dropping animations and scenery that I just was not expecting from a game that's very quick. I mean, there were some places that had me stopping to take screenshots. They also pull off such beautiful movement. I mean, the one that I can think off the top of my head is the snake cave, and seeing the slithering snake go through the whole entire cave. Obviously, it's not a boss or you can't kill it, but just to know that something that big lives in this world is kind of scary. It's kind of awe-inspiring in every sense of the word. I also love the sound design of Diablo 4. Whether you're blowing up demons with your traps or just raining down hell with arrows, you really feel the oomph of these things. I wasn't the biggest fan of the voice acting, but that's another story. A person can only take a repeating line so many times. So you're saying, Dog Dad, why is it called Loot Reborn? And I'll tell you why. Have you ever wanted to spray dopamine into your eyes, it go back through your arms and into your hands, making you impervious to carpal tunnel? That's what Loot Reborn is. Much has changed, and almost everything is pretty awesome. Let's start with the reduction of affixes on items. Now down to 3 from legendaries and 2 to rares. I think this is just Blizzard trying to simplify things, which is a good thing. Honestly, you could think about this season as a simplification, even though they've been adding a lot of stuff, and we'll get to that a little bit more. As Blizzard said, they want people to examine items and feel a little bit less daunted by the fact that they had 20-30 different characteristics for different things. Now, my experience this season is that I still look through the items and I'm still kind of as not confused, but it does take me time to pick a upgrade. So I don't know what they've really managed to do here, especially with the affixes. I still have to go in and mix and match them. There's also a simplification for your codex, just making the codex powers easier to find, even though, again, I wasn't really looking for these, but I hope it helps some people. Now, my favorite change is the tempering. Tempering is something that you can do to your weapons or items that create an even more customizable aspect. While playing Rogue, I was using a vulnerable build that I kind of made up. I was going for certain temperings that would add on to that, whether that was just pure damage or vulnerable damage, getting people dazed, what have you. It added a level to the customization that I was so happy about because it really made me feel like I had control over my character, and it made me feel that each decision I was making actually had some oomph to it. Like, if you wanted to create a traps rogue, I'm sure that that's viable. If you wanted to create a cutthroat rogue, I'm very sure that's viable, especially with all the weapons and armor that you're finding in the Hell Tides or the Tree of Whispers. There wasn't just like the possibility that you could get something, there was the definite prospect that you could get something and then change it into something that you wanted, which I think adds so much to the game and so much replayability. It's wild. With tempering, you're also trying to find manuals, which is another thing that I was on the lookout for. Each manual can get you better stats with your tempering. Next thing we'll talk about is the Hell Tides being reworked, which I really enjoyed. However, it did remind me of a certain Blizzard game.
You have betrayed your duty as Arbiter, and shall be bound forevermore.
Yeah, it's the Maw, right? I mean, even with the threat detection. However, I really enjoyed playing through the Helltides now. Not only were there a lot of people to play with, just finding them randomly or killing the Blood Maiden, the boss of the Helltide, but also with the new threat detection, I felt like I was going through hell, which is a good thing, right? It's called a Helltide for a reason now. Once you get to a certain threat threshold, you'll be assailed by more than, I want to say, 100 people on screen, or at least it felt like that. Not people, demons. What am I talking about? You'll be assailed by probably what felt like 100 demons, which is really cool because I felt like they upped the creature count, or I guess it felt like that. I don't know. Spraying arrows down, I go into a red kill zone and then I don't see anything until there's no monster. As I was saying before with the threat threshold, if you get to a certain point, you're going to get marked, or hell marked. This is hell's way of saying, Mom, they're being mean, can you pick me up? To get hell marked, you're probably killing a ton of demons. Good on you. If you make it alive being hell marked, then a Hellborn comes for you, which is pretty much the jailer, but you can defeat them. I was 50-50 on the new Hellborn mechanic, since half of the time I would easily kill him, and then the other half he would instantly kill me, and I would lose all my shards. So, I don't know. What are your thoughts? It really makes me happy because look at all of these different facets that they added on top of just what the base game of Diablo is. This is what I really love about Diablo 4 right now in its current state and in this season, is that you really choose what to do. You can do your Helltide, you can do your dungeons, you can do PvP if you want. It's really up to you, and it never feels monotonous. It never feels like a true grind like it did back then. Obviously, I haven't gotten to the last bit of the season yet, the Artificers, but before I do want to say that it never felt grindy. I always felt like I was accomplishing something more and that I wanted to do it. And I think that's really important and a really important distinction, because I'm not really one for the grind makes the game. I really enjoy games that the grinding feels rewarding. And right now in this season, I cannot stress this enough. It feels more than rewarding. So the last bit is the Pit of Artificers. I hope I'm saying that right. If Magic the Gathering people have taught me wrong, eek. I haven't even touched the endgame content being the Pit of Artificers. But I know I'll get there, because I'm addicted to this game. Even after a 5-hour play session and then having to walk my dog, throughout the walk I was thinking, I wonder what the next piece of armor or weapon I'll get is. That's how good Diablo 4 is. I wanted to make the review for this new season of Diablo because I think whether you level a character and come to a natural end, or you get all the way to the end game, rediscovering Diablo 4 for what it is now is a true experience, and one that a lot of people should have if you have it in your library. Is this game perfect? Absolutely not. Does it feel great to play? Yes. And I think that is one of the most important things to a game. Diablo 4 right now is not going to change your opinion on ARPGs. If you don't like the genre, this isn't reinventing the wheel. Diablo 4 has the right feel and pace to keep up with those games and do a little bit more, at least in my heart. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to listen to my review of Diablo 4's new season, Loot Reborn. If you enjoyed the video, leave a comment down below about your favorite Diablo game, click that like button, and subscribe if you haven't already. If you really enjoyed the video, check out my channel. There is something there for everyone. I make sure of it. And as always, see you next time.